Hi, it's Professor Nelson with the Joy Design Department at FIT. Continuing with our tutorial here on how to use a pipe in a maquette fashion when we're trying to do surface detailing for organic modeling. I had already laid in a straight line to chart the path of my cross-section. Now I need to get the rest of the information I need, and that's going to be done by doing an intersection between the cutting plane and the extruded sidewalls and the top curve. Unfortunately, my cutting plane doesn't reach the top curve. It's going to be easy enough to fix. As you'll recall, I assigned the C-plane to this cutting plane, so it's already where I want it. So we get an intersection here. Don't really need that point there. And an intersection here. I didn't want to do an intersection including that, because if I would have, I would have gotten a line here where these two pieces met, and I don't want extra curves that I don't need. Okay. I can now hide this. Well, actually, before I hide it, I might want a straight line off the top of here. If in case I want it, I will toggle, put it in place, and then I can hide this. I'm going to go ahead and hide the, turn off the layer with the picture frame on it. Although, actually, I want to see that picture frame, so I'm going to bring it back. What I see happen in class is I see there being a ridge across the top. Half round coming up on one side and scooping out on the inside. That's what I'm going to work with. So from the outside, I'm just going to trim this off, this straight line. Oddly enough, that doesn't intersect like it should. So, bring this back. Point snap. Just being sloppy with my mouse. My fault. Human error, not Rhino. There. Trim that off. And I can use that curve to find everything else I need. So curve blend, adjustable blend, that's fine. The other surface I want to curve. Now see how I'm getting a strange display here? It's kind of confusing. It's because the mesh option is set to jagged and fast. If I set it to smooth and slower, it'll refine that so I get a better display. For the other half of this section, I'm going to do the arc start end direction. I just want a soft arc in it. And that's my first section. Second section, I'm going to select all the things I want the cutting plane to pass through. Top C-plane, so the cutting plane orients itself properly. Cutting planes are always perpendicular to the construction plane. End, and that'll put that cutting plane right where I want it. Set the C-plane to the cutting plane, and intersect the cutting plane with this surface, my top rail, and this surface. Once again, I'm going to pull a horizontal isocurve. Make sure only point snap is selected so I don't make the mistake I made last time. Hide that cutting plane. Trim off the end of this curve. Adjustable blend curve. I hit the wrong edge. I don't want the surface edge, I want that. Arc start and direction. Nice soft reverse curve. Clean up the drawing. Top C plane. Cutting plane again. Surface. Top rail surface. Get an intersection between those. Get an iso curve. Set the C plane. Hide. I'm through with the cutting plane. Trim. Blend curve. It's creating a strong arc here that I don't really want coming off of there. So I'm going to be careful with these handles to get more of the cross section that I want. Got to make sure I grab the right curve there. Every time I do an intersection with the cutting plane of course goes all the way across these surfaces, so it's giving me intersections I don't need. I haven't been paying much attention to that. I try and get rid of the extra points on the top curve when I see them, but I will pay more attention going forward because that is annoying. If I grab the wrong one, it could really affect the outcome of the piece. Back to top C plane. Cutting plane. It's these two surfaces there. I had a duplicate. Surface. Top curve. Surface. Cutting plane. Intersection. Now, while those are all selected, I'm going to deselect the ones I want to keep. Which are these right here. And then I'll hit delete. Get rid of all the rest. That's how I can prevent those duplicate geometry from being produced. Hide. Now, I've noticed that the grain of this surface no longer matches the tilt. The grain of the cutting plane's isocurves no longer match the tilt of my piece. I have a couple of choices here. I'm going to pick the easiest one. Take this bottom curve that is actually right off the surface of the heart. I'm going to take that and copy it. End to point. And I'll use that as my receiving end of my blend curve. arc start in a direction. Keep moving. So, I'm a little concerned about how this came in here. I might want to redo this using the same method I used before on the last one there. Copy. My C-plane isn't in the right place for this, but these should be planar, so I'm not terribly worried about it. Obviously, if I don't get what I want, I'll take the time to reset the C-plane. It's not hard. Just unhide the cutting plane and assign a C-plane to it. But yeah, I like that a lot better. That's nice. So that was worth the trouble. Okay. So moving on, we have 2 more sections to do. My camera's starting to fight with me. When I rotate and revolve, I'm losing what I want. So I'm going to refocus my camera by selecting something I want to look at. Set view, zoom selected. Now my camera behaves itself a lot better. Okay, cutting plane. Top C-plane should be active, which it is. Intersection. C-plane. Hide. Copy. Blend. I clicked and lost my points. I can get them back by typing an end bulge. There. Cleaning up a little bit. I made the mistake once again of not following through with that. When I did the intersection, I didn't deselect what I wanted to keep and throw away the rest, so now I've got extra geometry floating around again, which is not great. I'll fix it all at once here in a minute. I'm almost done. I don't want that to be as dished as I made it. There we go. Last cross section. I'll select it, zoom selected so my camera is in a better position. And cutting plane. Top C-plane first. Intersection. Deselect what I want to keep. Delete the rest. C-plane to object. Delete. Now, here's the thing. That is actually perpendicular to the C-plane, but I don't like that. I want my last section to come off the end here in a normal way, at a more normal angle. So I'm not going to do the cutting plane. I'm going to do a loft. Set a C-plane to that and scale it. And that's my new C-plane. That's my new cutting plane, so to speak. I'm going to do an intersection here just to see. Okay. So those are reaching This curve isn't quite reaching. Pre-select that plane, hit extend curve. That becomes the boundary that I try and extend this to. And there you can see it extended to tap it. That's important because we don't want to have to want to explode this. Okay, just wanted to see if it kept that piece separate, that little extension. Sometimes it will. When you extend, that little fragment would be a little teeny surface or curve, which when you surface becomes a seam, which is really bothersome. But it didn't. But always good to check. Okay, same steps as before. Copy. Blend. Arc stop end direction. Okay. I have all of my rails and sections. Since I don't want a smooth transition here. I actually want an edge. So I'm not going to bother trying to maintain tangency, which means I can use bi-rail sweeps should I decide I want to. So, just checking my rails, making sure I have what I expect. Do my first surface. Okay, there's my problem. My edge doesn't come all the way around, so I'm going to need to extract border or duplicate border. Get the whole side, enter when done, join. If I don't want to deal with a poly surface here, I can rebuild that curve. I've got to make sure that I have at least as many points as it has here now. I'll give it 80. It's a very dense curve, and it'll make a very dense surface, but I'm not planning on doing control point editing like we've been doing in other projects. I'm just going to do sweeps, so how complicated the curve is not terribly important to me. I'll actually keep the curves all the same number, because that will make things easier if all my rails have the same point count, the same density. This rail is just 2 pieces. Join, rebuild. Okay. Now, sweep 2 rails. Curve, curve, section, 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 point. It's a nice surface. I'm going to add a little bit of slash information so that the grain of it is a little tidier. That's fine. That's the first side. Now I'll do the other side. Sweep 2 rails. Rail, make sure it's the curve, not the surface edge. Curve. Section. 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 point. Add some slash data so that the surface grain makes more sense. And done. Okay. Now, the interesting thing that I'm sure you noticed is that I took the sweep all the way to the point. And everything we've been doing so far, I've been telling you have to surface the point separately. You only have to surface the point separately if you want to remain smooth to another surface coming onto it. Because surfacing an absolute point is impossible without getting a crease when you're trying to maintain smoothness all the way around in an organic form. I wanted this to be crisp and cut. I want a very sharp point. So I did it in multi-surfaces. If I'm doing a poly surface and I don't care about smoothness, then I can surface all the way to the end. I'm going to join my object together. Looks like I had a duplicate surface, no? Yes, I had a duplicate surface in there. All right. There's my item, my motif, my object. I'm going to mirror it. And I'm going to cut it so it comes down to a point. I'm going to do that with a cutting plane. Just zero, enter, pull straight down. Before I trim them, I will save them. So copy, paste, group, change layer. Now trim. Join. Going to make a border, duplicate the border on the back. That'll give me the full outline. Remember, Rhino prefers to trim with a curve, so I gave it curves. Join. We have an open poly surface. I'm not sure why. We'll take a look at that. There are 8 naked edges, and they have nothing to do with the surface detail I brought in. Okay. Check under Properties, Close Poly Surface. See how it looks very strange? Rhino didn't like it being joined together that way. You'll see this in a lot of videos. It's just Rhino gets confused about the directionality as you save it. So extract by right-clicking on Explode. Take any surface off, it doesn't matter. Then just join it back on. And Rhino will figure it out and you'll get a good display. Okay, and we can and you can see how I brought this detail and surfaced it directly on top. By the way, you might be asking, why did I put the straight edge? I mean, because technically I could have just put this right off the edge of the part. Why did I bother with the straight edge? So it'll be crisp. When you print this and it goes through finishing, if you do not have this little edge here, it'll be very easy for the detail to get buffed out or polished out. It's a very small edge. It's 0.2 of a millimeter on a fairly large heart. By the way, this is, for being a puffed heart element, that's huge. An actual puffed heart element, that's 20 millimeters. Actual puffed heart would look it'd be down under 10 millimeters. It'd be down under 5 probably. This actual object is more like this. Okay? And at that scale, this is 0.05. It's nothing. But it gives you enough of a hard edge that detail will survive nicely. Okay? So that's it. The Space Needle's giving me a strange effect, so I'm going to go to the sunroom instead. Nice. Thanks for watching.